Hey y'all, welcome to Back Porch Cookin Reminiscing. I'm Roger, and we're happy to have y'all here with us today. Now, y'all, today we're going to be doing my grandma's Appalachian style burgoo. Now, a lot of you may wonder, what in the world is a burgoo? Well, it's a hearty stew, very rich, got a great brown gravy with it. You can put it over cornbread, you can put it over biscuits. I would say you could even put it over cream potatoes or rice or noodles, but it is delicious. Now, burgoos pretty much are known very well in Kentucky. Now, my grandma and grandpa lived in Kentucky back in the probably 40s and 50s. They lived in Harlan County, Kentucky. That's up in the coal mining region, right there with Hazard. So this recipe, probably grandma picked it up when that they were living there. All right, y'all. So to make our Appalachian Burgoo and a Dutch oven recipe, we've got here, it calls for a quarter cup of flour. Now we're going to use twice as much meat as it calls for. In the recipe, I'm going to give you the actual recipe in the description. Then if you want to add more meat, if you do add more meat, then you're going to have to increase your flour amount. How we happened up on this recipe, I was looking in the freezer to see what we had, and we had this finely chopped beef. I was looking at it thinking, well, what in the world can I do with that? And then it came to me, hey, do a burgoo with it. So that's how we got here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and you can see this is very finely chopped meat. It's very small pieces, but and you can use stew meat, maybe cut it in a little smaller pieces because you don't want this to be in huge chunks. You can use sirloin, but again, just cut it in small pieces. So that's what we're going to do with this. Is we're just going to put it in this flour, and we're going to put both containers in there because, like I say, we want it really, really meaty. All right, so we got it all in there. Now I'm going to season this up just a little bit. I'm going to put a little garlic powder in it. I'm just going to sprinkle that all around on the meat there. And we're going to put a little onion powder. And we're going to do a little salt. Now on the flour, you can use plain flour, but I am using self-rising, so you can do whichever one you prefer. And we're going to do a little black pepper. Well, we're going to do more than a little black pepper. We're going to put a bunch of black pepper in there. Now, and if you want to make this a hot burgoo, you can, of course, use some cayenne or something like that to really, really heat it up. But we're going to just go with the black pepper. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to incorporate our meat with our flour and try to get all of our meat covered with some flour. Just get down there in the bottom of it and get that flour that's on the bottom and bring it to the top, and just keep mixing your meat. Alright, I believe we just about got that done. Alright, to get our Dutch oven ready, I've got it sitting on a 5, so that's about a medium heat. And back here is our bacon grease that we save whenever we cook bacon. So we're going to do 2 good tablespoons of our bacon grease in here. There's 1. There's 2. We're going to let this melt, and once it's melted, we're going to put our meat into the Dutch oven. So our bacon grease is good and hot, and something that I wasn't thinking about when I said the 2 tablespoons of bacon grease. If you're doing 1 pound, you use the 2 tablespoons. If you're doing 2 pounds like I'm doing, it's going to be 4 tablespoons. Now we're going to cook this meat about half at a time. So we're going to put some in there, and it starts sizzling just as soon as I dropped it in there. So that's about half of that. And we're going to just take a spatula and just kind of spread this around, because we want a kind of an even layer in there for that meat to start cooking and the flour that's on it to start to brown. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to brown that flour. And once we get the flour browned, we're going to pull this batch out, and then we're going to put our second batch in there. So this is what we want our first batch of beef to look like. It's good and brown. I'm not seeing any redness on the outside. So what we're going to do, and you want to use either a slotted spoon or a slotted spatula. We're going to take this batch of meat out and just let it kind of drip a little bit, because we don't want to pull all of that grease out of there. So we got all of our meat out on a plate, and we got some really nice brown stuff going on in there. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, and we'll get this next batch in. So I got our second batch of meat out, and we have got some beautiful brown inside that pot. Now we're going to take our celery and our onions, and we're going to just pour those in there and let them start to cook a little bit and saute and get translucent. But celery and onions have been cooking now for about 4 or 5 minutes, so we're ready to go on to the next thing, which is we're going to add a 1/4 cup of tomato paste to this. And now, if at any point, if you start getting really dry on the bottom here, you can put a little more bacon grease or olive oil or just whatever you like. You can put in there just to kind of help things along. Now, I did put a little more olive oil in ours here. All right, and we got a really good brown going there on the bottom, and so here in a few minutes we're about to pour in some beef broth and some Worcestershire sauce. And when we do that, all those little brown particles are going to break off the bottom, and they are going to flavor our burgoo really good. Okay, and I have turned the heat down. We're on about a 3 now. So I believe we've got that good and mixed up there. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the beef broth in. And then we've got 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauces in with this beef broth. So we're just going to slowly pour it in there. Yeah, this is smelling good. All right, and we've got it all in there. And now we're just going to stir. Like I say, we're wanting to deglaze the bottom of that pan. So we're just going to stir until we're not feeling any stuff stuck to the bottom of it. And that usually takes just a minute. As the broth heats up and everything, it's going to pull all that good brown flavor from the bottom. So we got that deglazed, that pan smooth. When I run the spatula over the bottom of it, it's very smooth now. So we got all that good juicy flavor off the bottom. And now we're going to put our meat back in. Got our meat in there. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our carrots and our potatoes in there. Well, here's our potatoes. and their carrots. And y'all know I'm gonna put the ingredients and the directions in the description for you, so you won't have to try to keep looking to see what I'm doing. Okay, we're gonna put this in there, mix it up good, and then we're gonna bring it to a boil. So we're gonna turn our heat up to about an 8 and let this just sit here and come to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer after that. So we've got it to a light boil now, so all we're going to do is I'm going to give it a stir here, and then we're going to cut the heat down to low, and we're going to put the lid on it. So basically we've done about everything we're going to do to it except for about the last 30-35 minutes. We're going to add some corn and some butter beans. But for right now, we've got her done, and going to cut that heat down to low. And then we're going to put our lid on. All right, y'all. So our burgoo has been simmering for about 30 minutes now. So we're going to put our corn and our butter beans in it and let it finish cooking for another 30 minutes. And now on the butter beans, it calls for a whole can, but I'm not a huge fan of butter beans, so I just took some, and it also calls for the small ones. We only had the large ones, so I've cut them in half, but I'm just going to put a small amount of the butter beans in there because, again, I just really don't care for them. All right, so we got our butter beans in there. I don't mind getting a bite of one every now and then, but I'm just not a huge fan of them. All right, and then we're going to put some corn in there. So we're just going to let that simmer for another 30 minutes. And I'm telling you, this is not like just a soup. It's very hearty. It's got a good gravy with it. Got a pan of cornbread in the oven, and we're going to put it over that cornbread just like my grandma did. And we're going to have us a meal here in a little while. All right, y'all. So we'll be back in about 30 minutes. So y'all, our burgoo's been cooking for about an hour and a half now. Grandma's recipe said about an hour, but that's what she put on it, was about an hour, but it was about an hour and a half. But we've got everything is tender, the potatoes and the carrots and everything, and that's what you want. So, if it doesn't get done in an hour, it may take you an hour and a half. Depending on how big you cut your potatoes and everything, it could take 2 hours. But again, just, taste test it and see if it needs to cook longer, if everything's tender. If it is, you're good to go. If it's not, let it cook a little longer. I don't think it needs any more seasoning, salt or pepper or anything in it. I've tried it. It tastes pretty good. And so we're going to get us a bowl of it. But I just wanted y'all to see what it looks like here in the pot. And remember, I will leave you the ingredients and the directions in the description on this. So let's get us a bowl and get us some cornbread. All right, guys, so there's us a bowl of our burgoo with a piece of cornbread in it. And I'm going to let it cool for just a minute, and then we're going to give it a taste and see how it is. So, y'all, I'm ready to give it a taste test. First, I want to get some without the cornbread in it. I just want to taste the meat and the vegetables and the gravy and everything that it made while it was simmering. So I'm going to give it a blow. It's still steaming, but I'm going to give a blow on it here, and then we're going to taste that. Then we're going to try it with cornbread. All right, guys, here goes. Mm-mm-mm. Guys, that meat is so tender. Of course, it was tiny little cubes, so it's not hard to get that tender. But again, just let your meat cook until it is tender. Potatoes are tender, the carrots are tender. The flavor is just awesome. Now let's try a little bite with some cornbread here now, because I bet it's going to be even better with cornbread in it. Y'all, look up on our channel, find our cornbread recipe. I'll try to remember to put it in the description, put the link in there for you. Make you some of our cornbread. Make you some of my grandma's burgoo. And you're going to have a meal that everybody is going to love. I'm telling you, this stuff is just unbelievable. So I hope you'll try this recipe. Make it for your family. Share it with your friends. Remember, hit that like and subscribe button. Y'all know how to do it. So just go on there and click on it. And we appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate you watching and sticking with the channel. And we'll be back here in a few days and we'll have you another recipe. Got something in mind, but I'm not going to share it with you just yet. So again, guys, y'all have a great one. Thanks a lot.